Hey guys, it's Brian. We're back in the garage with Frostbite JL, and today we're going to be doing a little maintenance on my Metalcloak lift. What we're going to do is rebuild these control arm joints. So let's go ahead and take a look. Okay guys, so I do have a Metalcloak Game Changer lift on my JL. It's a couple years old, and they do say that these joints are low maintenance, but they're not maintenance free. You do need to go ahead and grease them every now and then. It's been a couple years on mine. I get it in water and sand on the beach and whatnot, so they're probably definitely due. So we'll go ahead and do that. One thing you want to keep is when you get your lift, they send you a little jar of grease. You definitely want to keep those so you can go ahead and lube up these joints later. And then you also want to go ahead and get yourself a good set of snap ring pliers here. I picked up this set from Amazon. I'll go ahead and put links down below. I was using a Harbor Freight one when I rebuilt my upper control arms, and it actually did bend the little teeth on them, and it was hard to get them back in. So you definitely want a good set. Let's go ahead and take a look at how this is done. Okay guys, let's go ahead and take a look at the Metalcloak joints. These joints are pretty cool. They are a rubber joint, and they are able to spin 360 degrees inside the metal here, and they are rebuildable, which is nice, and that's what we're going to be doing today. You can see there's a big snap ring here, and then there's also going to be a big washer. On the reverse side, there's going to be a washer holding in that back side as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and pull these, get this joint pounded out, and then clean it all up. I do suggest giving these a once over cleaning wise, get all the dirt and grime out of them. That way we're not getting any contaminants back in there when we re-grease these. All right, let's go ahead and clean this up. Okay guys, we're going to go ahead and grab our snap rings now. You are going to want to get the ones that go ahead and collapse the snap ring for the inside style snap ring. So like I said, you do want to get good ones of these. That way we can go ahead and control how we get this out without bending or breaking like we did with the Harbor Freight one. So you just want to compress that. All right. So it does help to have a little flathead screwdriver. Once you can get one end of this out, you can go ahead, work it around. Do want to watch your eyes, make sure you wear those safety goggles. So got that out. So now you see that there's a washer in there. That should fall right out. And then now you can see the joint on the inside. So now this will push out this way. What we're going to do is we're going to take a big socket. This one happens to be 1 1/4 inch. Fits over this part, but also makes contact with that inner washer, and then we can just tap her out. All right, now we got that guy out. That was a little harder than my upper control arms, and I'm assuming that's because this is fairly dry in here. This is what we're gonna go ahead and clean up and lube and get it back in there. It should press in a lot easier. But if you guys do have a press, that would make that job a lot easier. All right, here we go. Okay guys, now that you've gone ahead and pulled out the flex joint and you've cleaned it up, this was pretty grimy and it was pretty dry in there, so you definitely want to do this probably at least once a year. So now that I've got that out, you can go ahead and see how this works inside the joint there. You'll see that there's that lip in the back that the back washer rests against, and then the joint goes in, and then you do another washer, and then in that little groove is where the snap ring goes. So once we get this back together, we want to make sure that's fully seated. It's all back together, right? And we're going to go ahead and lube this with the lube that Metalcloak provided, the grease, and then we'll put it back together. It's pretty easy. You do definitely want to do this as regular maintenance so you don't have a joint failure. So let's go ahead and we'll get this back together. So now that we got this apart, we've looked at the joint, we're going to go ahead and get her greased up, and then we'll throw her back together. So you are going to have to do this on all your other control arms. On the front, it's the lowers have one at each end, so you'll be doing 4 of those. The uppers only have 1 at the body side, so you only have to do 1 on those. So you're going to end up doing 6 on the front, and then you'll do 8 on the rear. So I'm going to go ahead, get this guy nice and lubed up. I want to make sure that this has plenty of lubrication between this and the metal so that it can rotate when you're off-roading and it's flexing and articulating. It actually rotates in here. The factory ones are just pushed in, they're solid, and that's how they can wear out quicker, is because you're tearing the rubber, twisting it, especially if you're lifted and you're still on factory control arms. So these joints are great. You just need to clean them up and lube them every now and then. Now that we got a generous amount on there, let's go ahead and we'll put one of our washers back in. Make sure it's flush against the back there. Then we're going to go ahead and push this joint back in. So it goes in a lot easier than it came out now that it's lubricated. We'll clean up the excess here. And then I do like to go ahead and leave that lubed up a little bit on the washer where it meets the bushing. That way you do have lubricant on where it's going to ride on that joint where it's going to flex on. So let's go ahead and get that snap ring back in, and then this joint is totally back together and we're all set. So now that we went ahead, we put in our first washer, we put our joint in, now we put in our second washer. Now we're going to go ahead and get that snap ring back in. You do want to make sure it's fully seated. If you do need to tap it again with the dead blow, you can. And then again, you want to be careful with this, wear eye protection. These are under a decent amount of load, and you don't want to have this hit you right in the face. All right, I don't know if you guys saw that or not, but this was not fully seated. I went around with the flathead and I was able to push it back in, and I was able to pop the rest of that snap ring in there. So now that we've got that in, we've totally serviced this joint. We're gonna go ahead and do the rest of ours, and then we should be all set. Let's wrap this up. Okay guys, that's gonna do it for the rebuild of my Metalcloak flex joints. These Duraflex joints are pretty nice. They do hold up quite a bit to off-roading riggers, and they are fairly low maintenance. You do just need to annually go in there, lube them up, especially if you're getting them wet or going in sand. Clean them up. You saw how hard it was to get out, and it popped right back in with lubricant. So there was definitely friction on there. So easy to do. I definitely love this Metalcloak kit, so if you haven't gotten a lift yet, I definitely suggest them. All right guys, thanks for watching. Go ahead and like and subscribe. Stay tuned for more, and we'll see you on the next one.